What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bringing the Heat. I'm your host, Scotty G. Man, it's been a fun 2 weeks. We had a great show with Steve Murray playing some Call of Duty. We had Mike Pelfrey on from Wichita State playing some Fortnite. I'm really excited about today's guest. And before we bring the guest on, let's just recap on what Bringing the Heat's all about. So Bringing the Heat's a show. We've had some coaches on. We're going to have some minor league baseball players coming on these future weeks, get to tell their story. And we also have this game called the Spicy Six, where I ask the guest 6 questions. If I get the questions wrong, I have to eat something spicy. If I get the questions right, I get a pass. So every time I get a question wrong, I got to open this bag and eat a piece of jerky of the Carolina Reaper beef jerky. If I don't go at least 4 for 6 on guessing Brian's answers, oh boy. I'm going to do the 1 chip challenge. So there's 1 chip in here. It's apparently freaking hot. And inside, 1 extremely hot tortilla chip. Literally what it says right there. So do not eat if you are sensitive to spicy foods, allergic to peppers, nightshades, or capsicum, or are pregnant or have any medical conditions. Keep out of reach of children. After touching the chip, wash your hands with soap and do not touch your eyes or other sensitive areas. Seek medical assistance should you experience difficulty breathing, fainting, or extended nausea. That just sounds like I really want to do this. And with that, let's meet our guests. Today we have Brian Sakowski. He's the National Scouting Supervisor for Perfect Game. His main focus has been junior college baseball, just like Neosho County Community College with Steve Murray's team. He'd be covering one of those teams, and then the many other nationwide in the junior college baseball scene. And then he is in charge of Perfect Game's MLB draft coverage, the whole thing. He covers the whole MLB draft. Little fun fact about Brian is he spends about 150 to 160 days a year on the road, and somehow has time to be an assistant coach at Orchard Lake St. Mary Prep School in Metro Detroit area. Won the state championship in 2019. Brian, how are we doing tonight?
Great, man. Thank you for having me on this show. I'm looking forward to it.
You ready to just jump into some spicy 6 questions?
Absolutely.
Question number 1. What is your favorite college baseball stadium? If I get this right, I'm like the greatest ever. All right.
With no disrespect to any of the giant cathedrals throughout college baseball, my favorite college baseball stadium is Wayne State's in Midtown Detroit. It's a D2 school. It's Ernie Harwell Field, guy I grew up listening to on Tigers broadcasts, and they have like a green monster in left, and like it's right downtown, man.
Here we go. 0 for 1. Again, keeping score at home. 0 for 1. Also keeping score at home for the spicy or for the 1 chip challenge. Not starting off hot, but about to eat something hot.
Surviving?
It's hot. All right, question number 2. Marriott or Hilton?
Marriott.
Oh, you answered. You can't do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my bad. That's my bad. I own that. I apologize to the show. I apologize to the producers, the listeners.
I would have.
That's on me. You know.
I would have written down. I would have just so you know. I would have written down Marriott because I'm a Marriott guy too. Not a sponsor. Looking for one. Looking for a sponsor. Marriott. Come on. What is your favorite breakfast cereal? Let me answer. And if you're like, I don't like cereal, just make one up. All right, so let's go. I got my answer. Brian?
The Elite Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Gosh, I'm so bad at this game. I'm so terrible. I don't know why I agreed to this.
It's got to be everyone's answer. It's in a tier by itself. Man.
It wasn't mine. See, like, I think the spice kind of gets to my brain that I forget about some of them. Like, it did, like, that didn't even cross my mind. I wrote Fruit Loops.
They're good, so good. They're good, so good.
Fruitylicious.
Yeah, I mean, like, Fruit Loops is a good cereal, but yeah.
It's always at the continental breakfast at Marriott. Question number 3. Ooh, I like this one. Which trap in Home Alone was the best? I'm just gonna make it easy, and I'll explain it. Hopefully I get it right.
The water on the stairs, man. That one makes me laugh so every time.
Gosh dang
Water on
it.
the ice. Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I went with the door handle. I loved it. That's the one that I laugh at too. So 0 for 3. Guess what? We're doing the one chip challenge at the end.
Oh, you were always gonna do it.
I give the people what they want, you know? All right, here we go. We'll play a little casual, online, in an unranked match. You'll go 3-on-3. Is that what you normally like to play?
Yeah, that or twos. It doesn't matter to me.
We'll do standard. We'll go standard. While we're searching for a team here, you know, JUCO baseball has started already in 2021 with how weird the world has been this last year. Has it been hard catching up on everything prospect wise?
Yeah. Yeah, the answer is yes. It's just because of like who all came back that in a normal year would have been drafted. And that's the same across every level. It's JUCO and college, and you know. So it's like it's kind of you have to learn the whole new class at the same time, like
oh my god,
super great for us. Well, at the same time, like remembering who came back and doubling down on the work you did the year before, and I'm proud of our ability to stay organized in that sense at PG, and the guys I work with are passionate about it too. So we've had a pretty easy time with it, but that doesn't make it any less complicated.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I just, you know, again, you know, with the baseball world and all the sports world in college, the eligibility didn't count, right? So so that's what Brian's talking about is if you were a freshman in 2020, you're still a freshman 2020. So if you were a senior, you can come back and play another senior year. So that's what Brian's talking about, having to go back and check the work and see who's still there, who's not there, and all that stuff. So it definitely has made it tough on not only the coaches that are coaching these teams, but everybody else that's having to, just be around it and like what you do is scout it. So with that said, Brian, is there a clear cut, or I guess who in junior college baseball is the number one prospect? Is there one out there right now?
Yeah, I think there's a conversation to be had about like as many as 5 or 6.
Okay.
Our guy for our list, we went with Ricky Tiedemann, the left-handed pitcher at Long Beach College out there in California. He's one of those guys where like you got to pay attention to him twice because he was a high school senior a year ago, was on draft boards, didn't get taken, and then rather than go to San Diego State or wherever it was he was signed, he opted to go JUCO because now he's draft eligible again right away.
Right.
So him, I'm going to go with him, and then I think Christian McGowan at Eastern Oklahoma is another guy. I think Hunter Parks at Florence Darlington in South Carolina is another guy. There's really like as many as 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah.
Chris Bowe and Josh Swales out at CSN.
Gotcha. Being from, living here in Oklahoma, Matt Parker's done a great job out there at Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you say Eastern or Western? Sorry.
Yeah, Eastern.
Eastern, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, so, he's done a really good job, and, got to root for the Oklahoma guy, so.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I've heard nothing but great things out there in Long Beach and that arm. So when you go to the ballpark, just kind of tell the listeners, what you're going to scout, what you look for, in the players that you're going to scout.
Well, I guess there's kind of 2 elements to, am I going to the ballpark not knowing what I'm going to find, or am I going to the ballpark knowing who I'm going to be looking at? Because like if it's one thing, if it's the first thing, then you're just like, show me loud,
Yeah.
whatever it is, show me loud, and I'll see it, and we'll figure out if you can play from there. After that, like as far as like guys that we know that I need to go see, or I'm on the road in the spring chasing down draft guys, blah 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 blah. Then you're kind of like, you have a background with the dude, like what he's supposed to be, what some people like him as. So you're trying to go in and make your own mind up. You're trying to go in and say, well, hey, my buddy with this team really likes this guy and has him in the 3rd round. And, my other friend with this other team has him in the 8th round. He's not as in. I've never seen him before. Like blah 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 blah. There's all those elements that go into it, and then there's when you actually get to the yard and like,
Right.
Okay, what am I breaking down? What am I seeing? Is he a bat? Is he an arm? How important is his defensive positioning to his profile? Like all the above. We could talk for hours, man. Really.
Right. But I mean, when it's a guy that that you're going to see, right, or maybe you've seen a couple times, and you're going back to see him again. I mean, what is it, the number one or the couple things that you're really, really trying to break down?
It's so for me, it's like you want to see improvement across different looks, and you want to see the guy having specifically improved on what you identified as a weakness. So like an example of that would be a pitcher who you really like the mechanical operation and the body projects, and you like the stuff, but he's struggling to throw strikes. And then you go back 6 months later, and you're like, all right, well, are the strikes better? Is the command better? Has the body gotten better to where he's more stable, to where he can repeat his delivery? What does the stuff look like now across multiple looks? And that's how you build out what you believe the player is going to be long term, which is the whole damn job in the first place.
Right.
We're trying to predict the future here a little bit.
Right.
So all of that goes into it. Every time you see a player, it's like a chapter in his book as far as like you scouting him and you evaluating him. But yeah, man, it's you want to see improvement. You want to see a guy get better.
How much does body language mean to you? Negative body language, positive body language. When you see that on the field, what goes through your mind?
It depends, man. Like, is it after a kid's failed at something? Like, did he just strike out on a bad pitch, or like take a fastball in the middle, or make an error or whatever? Then like, okay, well, 3 pitches later, why are we still pouting? Like, the moment's over with. We need you to be an adult and figure it out. We still got a game to play here. So it's important to me in that sense. I don't really like buy into the whole like, unless the guy's screaming and cheering on his teammates the whole time, he's not a good person.
Right.
Like that mentality. That really doesn't do a whole lot for me. Because I think there's an element of false hustle too.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, man. I think it's about how does a kid respond to failure. And like you strike out and you slam your bat and you're pissed a little bit, like, okay, but then when you go back out in the field next inning, is it over? Are you done?
Right.
That's what's important to me.
Right. I love it, and it's one of the things that we coaching and all that stuff we talk about is can you be in the now? Can you forget what just happened and move on to the next thing? And the faster you can do that, I think the better for sure. And so, I mean, even adults, you see Bryce Harper, he can throw a temper tantrum. You can, anybody really can outside of, you haven't really seen Mike Trout do it, but
Right.
but how fast can they get rid of it, right? How fast can they move on after the moment of whether it was good or bad? How fast can they move on and continue to play the game? So I'm in full agreement with you, on the same page for sure. So we're obviously playing Rocket League. Do you know much about esports?
Man, like not really. It's just like by the time I was like out of college, it hadn't really totally started up yet as far as like, the popularity of having college teams for this sort of thing. And like, so it just, I don't know a lot about it. That's just
Right.
the answer, really, man. I'm kind of uneducated.
It's a fairly new thing that's out there, and it's taken the world by storm. And just Rocket League has a huge community, has college teams, it has professional teams. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's, in my opinion, it's high it's highly active, and the coloring, I think they've done a great job. But I gotta ask, like I said, we always ask the guests to play the game of their choice. Why did you pick Rocket League?
It's like it's my shut off my brain game, you know. Like, I don't play a lot of video games really. Like, I'm bad at them to begin with. But like, you know, I'm just like inconsistently like home to play it, like to be good at something. So this game is like, you know, it's remote control cars playing soccer, man. Like, I don't have to think a whole lot about it.
What a great idea.
So I enjoy that element of it.
Yeah, and you know, we talk to minor leaguers, we've talked to other coaches, and you yourself, is we're kind of seeing the thing is, you know, these guys, it's something that gives them a chance to just take their mind off whatever's going on and kind of come down from whatever high they're on of competing for, you know, 3 or 4 hours at the top highest level. So I agree. It's just something that you can kind of shut your mind off, get away from the world, get away from, you know, whatever you need, and just have some me time, right? And that's what's great about video games, and it's kind of the point of why I wanted to include it in the show. So you definitely hit it on it there. But I'm so stoked that you pick Rocket League, because normally it's like Call of Duty or, you know, just something different. I love it. And look at that! Look at that!
Bam!
Look at that! Look who scored!
Don't let me get hot. Don't let me get hot.
Love it. Love it. Speaking of hot, my throat's on fire. And speaking of hot, go ahead, give me is there a clear-cut JUCO, Division I, Division II, NAIA, everything that's out there? Is there a clear-cut number one guy that everybody is just like, he's either going number one, or it's just that's the best guy in the draft, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I don't think it's consensus, but like the most popular name, the most famous guy is definitely Kumar Rocker,
Vanderbilt,
the right-handed pitcher. Yeah, the guy who had that like 19 strikeout no-hitter against Duke as a freshman in the Super Regional or whatever it was.
Yep.
And, he had a stupid good high school pedigree. Like, he was a guy that, you know, wait, this guy's not going to go in the first round. He's going to Vanderbilt. Like, what? You know, it was a surprise a couple years ago.
Yep.
Because, you know, he was offered, you know, multiple $1 million to sign, and so now it looks like, you know, barring something unforeseen this spring, that gamble's going to pay off, and whether he's first overall, third overall, whatever it is, like he's definitely consensus in the top of the draft mix.
I like that. Yeah, he's fun to watch. If you haven't watched him pitcher at Vanderbilt, assuming Vanderbilt's got tons of arms, they always do. I'm assuming that they're going to throw him on Friday, which means that he's their ace. The guy, yeah, it's electric, and you know, my favorite baseball team is the Chicago Cubs. I would love to see him in a Chicago Cub uniform. I don't think he'll be available at that time, but you never know. Things have been weird.
Here's a piece of Sakowski trivia for you.
Uh-oh.
I'm a Detroit Tigers fan, and yet in 2016, I was in Cleveland for Game 7 and watched your Cubs win the World Series.
Love it. Are you ready to give some predictions?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Who is going to win the Junior College World Series in Enid, Oklahoma, which is the Division II JUCO World Series?
I will go with LSU Eunice.
Can't go wrong there. That is
loaded.
A loaded team.
They were like 21-0 last year and brought back the whole team, like except for one or two guys. Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot, but is there a guy on that roster that's pretty high on your board, or is that just a really good team in general?
Yeah, it's a really good team in general, and they have a really, really good coach in Jeff Willis. But the highest guy on our board is their catcher. His name's Aiden Macaris. Just kind of a complete guy. He can defend. He can throw. He's hit before. We're waiting to see a little bit more power come, but once that happens, he should be, you know, one of those guys who commits to like a Power 5 school this spring at some point.
Got it. Love it. What about the one that goes on in Grand Junction, which is the Division I Junior College World Series in Grand Junction, Colorado. Who you got?
I'm going to go with College of Southern Nevada there. They're my preseason number one, and I'm just going to stick with them for sure. I just think they got a lot of third-year guys. You know, they got a lot of prospects. They got a lot of just really good players, and their coach is excellent as well, and Nick Garitano. And I think that, yeah, they were pretty easily my number one team this year. Maybe like them and Wabash were probably the two.
That was gonna be my next question. Was if I gave you a second option, who would it be? Are you going Wabash?
Yeah. They were my number two.
Okay.
You know, they were really, as far as when it got down to it, they were the only other team in my number one mix, really, to start this year. So
another program that just is always kind of there, right? I mean, they do a great job over there. But let's move right to it. Let's go to the big one. Let's go to Omaha. Who you got winning the World Series in Omaha, Nebraska, Division I baseball?
My one of my best friends is a guy I work with named Vinny Servino, and he runs our college stuff. And he's got Florida at number one to start the year, so I'm going to directly contradict my friend Vinny here, and I'm going with Texas Tech.
Ooh, the Red Raiders. You think a Big 12 team can do it, huh?
Yeah.
I love it.
You know, the SEC's dominant, but like you don't got to beat the whole SEC. You just got to, you know.
What Tadlock is doing out there, and you know, that's a really fun program to watch. You know, they had Clayton Beater that went pretty high last year, and a lot of those guys that came back that are still there, and then all the guys that they get in those recruiting classes, they kill it on the road. Are you ready to finish the Spicy Six?
Yeah, you see how I led you in there? That was
perfect. You did a wonderful job. Who is going to win the Super Bowl?
Ooh.
Don't just blurt it out. Here's my answer. Okay. Who you got?
Tom Brady, ring 7, baby. Tom Brady, ring 7.
I got one right. Ta-da! I got the Fighting Goats, Tampa Bay, or Tom Brady, whichever way you want to look at it. Boom!
Either way.
If I did one thing right tonight, because I am awful at Rocket League, if I did one thing right tonight, I got one question right. I got one question right. What is your favorite cheat food? I'm going to go with that one. So, what do you got?
Taco Bell.
Oh, we're going real specific. We're going to grab some late night. The Bell's on. I can't remember what their thing is.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
I got to go 2 for 6. Just to have some pride. Question number 6, and then we're going to eat the chip. Who is your favorite baseball player currently playing? Okay, hit me with it.
Justin Verlander.
Should have done that. So you're...
We're Detroiter, man. You know, what do you want?
I was like, no, he's not going to go him. Doesn't play for Detroit anymore. I went with Mike Trout. Just thought I'd try to hit it out of the ballpark with the best player.
I mean, it's fair. Like, it's a fair guess, baseball. You know.
Really wanted to go 2 for 6. Now, it's time for the One Chip Challenge.
Oh, baby.
This thing is like individually wrapped in this One Chip Challenge. And what really, you know what scares me the most out of this is that it says 2020 on it. Like, I don't want to do anything to do with that. Pull the chip out. So it got a little bit of a, this thing looks hot. So I'll eat the other thing. It's in there. Here we go. It's stale.
I don't hear any gasping for air.
Not yet.
Soon.
Maybe? Brian, I can't thank you enough for being on the show. I gotta rank the spice.
Okay.
So, right here, the Creeping Reaper beef jerky. 6.6 on the G scale. 6.6 on the G scale. Didn't hit me. It's really good. I'll give this a 9 out of 10 on flavor and taste, but on spice, 6.6. With that being said, the one chip challenge on the G scale. I gotta go 7.7 on the G scale. Not as hot as the 11 and 12 that I did on the roulette game with Coach Murray, but 7.7, one chip challenge. I mean, I feel like I'm breathing fire, so it's definitely hot. Brian, again, really appreciate you being on. Love what you're doing for not only the high school but the JUCO world and just college baseball in general. Give Brian a follow on Twitter at his Twitter handle right here. B_Sakowski_PG. He's got a lot of good info out there. Again, if you're a high schooler, junior college guy, go follow him. He's, Perfect Game's a great thing to get exposure like we talked about. And with that, that's it for tonight. We'll see you next Tuesday. And always, be kind to each other on and off the headsets. Good night.